Speaking of which, so kind of the next topic, just I know I make a lot of Starfield videos, so want to talk about that. So recently, I don't know if you guys heard the news. So I think it's a few weeks ago now. So basically, Bethesda came out and said that they're pushing the game back to sometime in the first half of 2023 for the release. So we're no longer looking at a November release date for the game. So that's kind of shitty news to hear, but at the same time, it's also kind of a relief because the last thing you want is to see the game end up like Cyberpunk, or
Or
Anthem,
Fallout 76.
or
Yeah.
Fallout. Oh yeah, Fallout 76. I'm not too I'm not one who's like super worried about that because it's like comparing apples and oranges. Like Bethesda, their niche is single player role playing experiences, right? That was not what Fallout 76 was, right? They have a very good track record when it comes to single player role playing games, which is what Starfield's going to be. So yeah, no, I get that, but they certainly learned a lesson. They certainly learned a lesson for sure with Fallout 76. I think it was a good lesson to learn, and maybe that's a huge reason why they are pushing it back. Now, I'll be making another video I think this next week just because the summer showcase is coming up. In fact, that's I think it's June 6th. So we're gonna like 95% sure we're gonna be getting actual. This will be like they're gonna release actual gameplay footage for the game. So that's kind of exciting. So I'm definitely interested to see how that's going to all shake out. But you know I think with the delay, I think my huge take on it is so one thing that they're doing is that they're basically incorporating a new enhanced game engine. That Starfield's really the first product that is going to be on it. In the last time they did it was with Oblivion, and guess what? They delayed the game. So, and the game still turned out to be absolutely fantastic. And there's a lot who think Oblivion's the best Elder Scrolls title. It's not my favorite, but it's obviously up there.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm personally okay with them delaying it if it means it's going to be more polished at release. Another game, Battlefield 2042, was an absolute disaster flop right
Hmm.
away, and I was a big fan of the Battlefield series, but I tried that one out and left a sour taste in my mouth. So if it takes them a little bit longer to develop Starfield and really make it a great single player experience, then yeah, by all means, go ahead, take those extra few months. They're probably pissed that they're missing the holiday season, but hey, it'll sell more in the long run if it's a good game right out the gate.
It certainly will be more sustainable, and I think with Cyberpunk, I think they've done it right because like the game Cyberpunk now is kind of in a good state. It's kind of what I'm hearing. I mean, I actually enjoyed it. Like I bought it even despite all the stuff. Like I enjoyed Cyberpunk, right? And it was really never going to be a game for me that I really played more than once or twice because it has a little too much of a Grand Theft Auto 5 feel or just Grand Theft Auto feel where I do like those games, but I don't like obsess on those games. And so like I enjoyed it. It was always going to be what it was for me, but I think had they released the game the right way, that there would be way more people playing it right now, because GTA 5, and I've mentioned this in another video. GTA 5 is like for an open world, single player RPG title is like the best selling game of all time, right? And they delayed the game multiple times, right? So there's a formula there, and the formula is pretty simple, and I think it's easy to understand by now. And some studios still seem to get it wrong, but take whatever time you have to take to make sure you get the game right. And if you
Mhm.
release a game and it's not, and if it doesn't meet the expectations of the fan base, you're setting back that whatever the IP is, you're setting that back. Like think about Cyberpunk. There could be people talking about the next Cyberpunk. It could be just as popular right now as Witcher, but it's completely deflated. And so
Yeah.
we may get a Cyberpunk sequel, but that's probably not going to be for 5-10 years, probably closer to 10. And there'll be people that are excited for it when that comes out. But had they done it the right way, then they may have had like a situation like where Bethesda has, where they have two really strong IPs. They have they have the Elder Scrolls series and they have Fallout, where they have such strong bases where they're really chomping at the bits to get the next installment. And CD Projekt Red, there was a huge opportunity for them that they completely swung and missed.
Yeah. They bombed it. But I have been playing Cyberpunk a little bit lately, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's been massive patches to help smooth out the gameplay. And yeah, I mean it's still decently fun. I'm still on my first playthrough, so I don't know the whole thing, the whole story. I've heard the story's very good, but just kind of
Yeah, it can
yeah,
be. Which
it's
which route?
way less buggy than when I played
Yeah,
it the first week when I bought it.
sure. Which route did you go? Because you have the three different. You've got like the corpo path, and you got the what are the other ones?
I'm the street kid. I'm doing
Ooh,
that
this
path.
you street kid, hustler.
Vi or whatever. I forget what her name is. Something like that. V. No,
Yeah.
V.
Well, V's the character regardless, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, this is something like with Starfield. I think they're going to do a much better job with. They're going to have different character backgrounds, where I think it's actually going to feel different. Starfield, we'll wait and see, of course. But like Cyberpunk, depending on which background you choose, you get kind of like the first hour of the game is different, if even that. And then there's like one side quest that you get later in the game from it, basically. But that's about the extent of how what that goes. But
Gotcha.
yeah, my kind of theory on Starfield, I think what they're going to do, because Todd Howard has mentioned there's going to be two step out moments, which in step out moments he means like when in Skyrim, when you just leave Helgen, right? You just get out of the dungeon and now you kind of have the whole world as your oyster, or when you escape the prison in Oblivion as an example, or in any Fallout when you get out of the Fallout shelter, right?
Yeah.
Kind of that's the step out moment. In Starfield, what they're going to do for the first time, they're going to have two, and I think the first one's going to be kind of based on your character background, and then you kind of progress to a certain point. And my theory is kind of like, well, at that point you're probably going to unlock the ability to maybe hop from star system to star system as an example, and then that's going to be your second step out moment.